All right, last one.
All right, good people. Welcome back to another edition of Kingly Conversations, man. And again, as I say every single week, we're available anywhere and everywhere you listen to podcasts. So if you are an Android person, we got you covered. If you are an iPhone person, we got you covered. If you are a smart speaker person, we got you covered. As a matter of fact, just tell your smart speaker to play Kingly Conversations.
Ooh, hey Siri,
and watch what happens.
Hey Alexa.
You might enjoy yourself. As I am every week, man. I'm Alan.
What up? It's your boy Twine, also known as Twine Hosaneba. That's all I got.
It's your friend, your mentor, Calvin D. Hill.
Ask me about my podcast. Hey, pause for the cause, man. I just want to say hi to everybody that's listening. We appreciate you. Definitely got to take time for y'all because without y'all, we love you.
Good deal.
I love y'all, man.
Good deal.
Shout out to Boa, man. He just sent us a message out, man. Shout out to you, man.
Hey, congratulations on a successful 20 plus years in the Marine Corps.
20 plus.
20 plus.
Raw.
You don't see that every day. Good job, man. Good job.
Yeah. Hey, good job to you, man. Congratulations on that as well. To all the other listeners, man. Thank y'all. We appreciate your support. And what I would like to ask y'all is for some feedback because myself, I like to have conversations with other people to see what their mindset is and their perspective is on any of the topics. And even if you have a topic, man, I would like to dive into that as well. For me personally, I don't have any limitations, but I am not the only one here. So, Hosaneba, what's the topic for today?
The topic is, if it was 2007 again, what would you do? And I'm using that. I'm talking about us three specifically. Coming home. You've been home now for about a month or two from Iraq. And if you knew everything that was going to happen, including this would make me think of this, including the housing market crash of 2008. What would you do? Because Robert Kiyosaki came out. Maybe I might be a couple weeks late, but he made the statement. He said the housing market is exactly the way it was in 2007.
I'm surprised it took this long to say it. I mean, I said it a month and a half, 2 months ago.
Man, but knowing that, and you were at that time again in your life, you had that boatload of money, you had your pockets fat. I was about to move to Texas before I moved, and everybody was about to go their way. What would you do? Knowing what you know today about your life, yourself. I know the changes I went through. So,
well, at the time, I would have been single. I am not today. But what I would have done then is I would have waited until 2009, bought a duplex. Or I might have bought, at that point, might have had enough to buy an apartment building, a 4-unit or something like that. I would have lived in one. If I had a 4-unit, I would have lived in one of the units, collected rents on the other 3. I am not a landlord, so I would have hired some, which I would do now too, but I would have hired a property management company to manage the property, and I just live in one of the units.
Yep.
That's not unusual, really.
It's not.
It's unusual here, but it's not unusual in like New York, Chicago, places like that have a lot more apartments.
I wouldn't even know it.
Yep, exactly. So that's what I would have done in that specific instance. If you're talking about everything else, I don't know that I would have even been in Virginia. I don't even know that I would have been in the U.S.
If you came home in 2000, you wouldn't have stayed in the U.S.? You would have left?
So my biggest reason for staying in the United States has been twofold. My parents are here. My business is here. The business I was involved in at the time, I could only really work it in the U.S. and Canada.
Right.
I say at the time, I'm still in it, but I mean, I could only work it in U.S. and Canada, and those weren't either of the countries I was planning to move to. So it would have eliminated that that income avenue for me, especially then. Now, not so much because technology is what it is, but technology wasn't where it is now then. So it would have eliminated, but I definitely would have moved. I mean, I stay here because my concern is always making sure you have enough money to get back at a moment's notice. And I do mean moment's notice. Like if you get a phone call at 2:30 on a Saturday, can you get back by like 6? Can you get back by 10? Or if you lived in Australia, would it take you 48 hours to get back? So that's why I stay, which is also the reason why if we plan to move today, we would probably be moving to somewhere like Toronto or nearby or Vancouver, somewhere where you can easily get a flight back to where you need to get to at a moment's notice. It might going to cost you, but you can get one. You can get home in 24 hours. That was my threshold, was can I get home in 24 hours if I needed to. But no, I mean, I might have done a lot of things different because in my case, I already knew who my wife was. So it wasn't like we hadn't met yet. So that wouldn't really have changed. Mm-hmm. The circumstances of how may have changed, but the fact that I knew who she was and my intentions, my unspoken intentions, but it hadn't changed. Just the opportunity needed to present itself.
I like it. Calvin?
Well, me personally, I would have stayed in Texas. I would have stayed in Texas, and I would have bought my house in Texas. I would have bought 2 houses in Texas.
In Corpus Christi or somewhere?
No, in Houston. Actually, I would have stayed in Corpus for whatever time until I could buy that house.
Yeah.
And then I would have moved to Houston.
Okay.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's the big thing. I definitely, knowing what I know and knowing that hurricane was coming, I might not have.
You would have been out there with them folks that was cold because the power was out. Yeah.
But I still say I would have
a generator.
Yeah, I still would have moved to Texas, and I would have moved sooner. Actually, I would have made that decision a lot quicker. I would have married Angie. I said Andrew. I would have married Angie before we went to Iraq.
Andrew, I ain't gonna say.
Yeah, I would have did all that, man. But it's 2007, so I pretty much, I would have made my decisions quicker. The things that I pursued and my attitude, that's what I would have done. I wouldn't have taken so long to make some of the decisions I made because I made them out of fear.
Yes,
there's a storm brewing.
Storm brewing. So if you do hear any lightning or thunder in this particular episode, that's what's happening.
Yeah.
You probably won't because the stuff with the equipment we use is pretty good, so you probably won't even be able to tell. We can hear it, but you won't be able to hear it.
That's awesome. Shout out to technology. Same question to myself. Well, I definitely would not have gotten married. I would have kept all that money and I would have invested it in a property. Like Alan said, I would definitely start with a duplex, a quadplex. With the whole structure in my mindset now, I would do it completely opposite. I would start with a quadplex, 4-plate, and I'll probably live in there for a while, get the money up, then get like something like a duplex. So I would invest in a property, and then I would find another property that would pay for that.
Yep.
And keep going down the line. So eventually, I wouldn't have to work because all my properties would be paying for themselves and allowing me an allowance to live a life of a single man. Yeah,
he said a single man.
Well, he would have been single at the time. So a question on that one. So how many doors? Do you have a goal for how many doors you want to have? Meaning how many individual rents you want to collect? Like, is it 100, 1,000?
I don't have a number. I'm gonna just keep going till I can't get no more. What you mean?
It
would be
can't get no more is not ever gonna happen unless
exactly. So if there's an opportunity
Well, I mean, you would shift the goal anyway. I'm just saying, like I got like for the podcast, I got a goal of 1,000 listeners this year. But then after that, once we get near that goal, then it'll be 10,000, and then 100,000, and then 200,000.
Yeah, I think
75 million, and a billion, and the galaxy. And
tell your friend to tell your other friend.
Hey, they can hear it.
Hey, we
They
broadcasting
need to know
in
too.
space now.
You know what I'm saying?
Huh?
They need to know too. You know what's crazy about that?
Shout out to
Not
the
that this has
space
anything to
cadets.
do with this 2007. You know, every radio signal is propagating through space. So yeah, we are technically in space if we want to be technical.
Technically.
We are technically. Now, aliens, you know, if they do exist, won't hear it for, you know, thousands to potentially millions of years. They won't be able to pick up the signal. But
Well, this would be one of those things you bury in the ground and then
time capsule.
Yeah, there you go.
So, I mean, as far as 2007, I don't know that. And the things that if I had moved, obviously none of the jobs that I had after that would have been jobs. So the moving itself would have changed everything else with the exception of my spouse. And who knows? It may have changed. It may have changed the timing, because Texas, which I didn't know at the time until I reached out to her one day. I didn't know she was in Texas, but I had thought about moving to Texas anyway. Dallas Fort Worth area though, not Houston. Houston way too humid, way too hot for me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
No, I don't need none of that. I like dry heat. So, but there was Texas, there was Indianapolis, there was Charlotte. So I had picked a few cities. And, you know, like if I rolled up out of here, where would I go? I had picked a few cities and then never really fully pursued it, you know, to the best of my ability. And then once, you know, craziness started happening, I was like, let me just roll up out of here. But then, like I said, family kind of keeps you, for some people, family keeps them tied. And my parents are at the age where I was just like, and my wife's parents. So,
But see, even at that in 2007, how would you have handled, knowing what you know today and the person you are today, how would you handle those relationships? Because I know I would handle things way more aggressive and way sharper.
Those I wouldn't personally handle those relationships any differently. Yeah. Now, but I also don't. You're talking about those relationships. I wouldn't like my relationships with my parents, grandparents. I wouldn't handle those any differently than I did.
I would be a beast.
But I also don't. You know, in my case, I also don't have. Like, I don't have anything really negative to say about my relationships with those people. Right. So I have. The only thing that I may have done would have been to encourage my uncles and aunts to come see their mother more often. But that would have been it. To encourage them to come see their mother more often. Because none of my grandmother's children lived here. 2 of her grandchildren did. 3 of her grandchildren, I'm sorry, because there's 3 of us here. But none of her children live here. They all moved to other places. And Hampton Roads is someplace you have to be intending to come. It's not like there's an interstate that passes it. You have to get off of one major artery to get onto another one to even get here. And that one ends here. So you have to be coming here for that purpose. So I would encourage them to come to town more often and spend time more often. Because time is the thing you can't get back. For sure.
I would like to say that if I knew what I knew, if I knew now what I knew back then, as far as how I would handle relationships, I wouldn't take crap from nobody. You hear me? Zero. But not only because I'm more aggressive now than I've been before ever in my life, is because when I got the help that I needed now, if I would have had that or seek that help out back then, I would have not allowed a lot of things to happen that happened in my life. I would have been able to stand up for myself. I would have been not as manipulated, and I would not have been persuaded by other people who did not have my interest, the best of my, how the saying goes. So I would definitely be a beast because now I have no tolerance for anyone that's foolishness, any that negative energy that, I don't have time for. I don't care who you are.
I would deal with people like just direct.
More, definitely more direct.
It would be
that, and I'd say now that I've gotten the help, if I knew this back in 2007, I would finish things that I started.
That's a big one.
I would finish things I started because I was so scatterbrained at the time, with all the stuff that I had going on.
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely finish what I started in any endeavor.
Mm-hmm.
So that would have been different as well for me. As far as handling relationships, a lot of people would have got cut off. A lot of people would not have been spoken to, and not out of spite and not out of anger of any sort. It's just that they wouldn't be on my level, so I would not waste the time or energy to participate in the foolishness.
As far as your career, would you have picked the same career?
No,
Would you?
I wouldn't have, because, like I said, I was such a scatterbrain back then. When I went to trade school, it was more for the electronic side because I've always had an interest in that. So I definitely would have taken a different path altogether. I probably would be very proficient in coding and things of that nature and stuff like that because that's deep down inside, that's what I've always wanted to do.
Yeah. I would have went straight business.
Straight business?
Straight business. Oh, because that's all I want to do.
Now?
No, even as a kid, but I had to. It was put in my mind the wrong way. Yeah, that you should get a career or get a skill and go work for somebody. But it was always that
was passed down to you,
right? And that's what I'm saying. What? It was always passed down to me. Yeah. I should go work, and I was trained that way. Training works, people. I was trained to. Okay,
they trained up a child, and he couldn't violate that programming.
Right. So until I became able to or understood, okay, this is what. Yeah, but that's what it is. That's what I knew or I identified my skills or my niche or things that I wanted to pursue or my passion. And was able to go pursue it. I never had that opportunity per se because I went straight from being a child, being told what to do, to straight. Now I have to do what they told me to do because I have to take care of my own child.
Yeah.
So I can't pursue what I want to do. I have to take care of my family. So it was no time period for me to figure that out.
That makes sense.
So that's why.
That makes sense.
I mean, in terms of, I don't know that I would, in terms of career, because I never really wanted a job. A job to me was a means to an end, a means to get you to whatever it is that you wanted. And for me, that was and still is freedom. So that, I don't know that it would have changed in terms of a career, because I'm going to do whatever allows me to have the lifestyle that I'm looking for. So even in the job that I have now, part of the income that I get from work is devoted to Shorter Way to Success LLC.
Okay.
So that it can continue to further that goal of getting on up out of there.
So you're taking your earned income, putting it towards making your passive income.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's what but it's because I learned a long time ago, a guy named Jim Rohn said, this is what he said, right? This is what he said.
Shout out to Jim Rohn, man.
He said, your 9 to 5 feeds your family, but what you do 5 to 9 fuels your fortune. And in my case, now, and everybody.
Hey, yo, rewind that.
Okay.
Hey, yo.
Let me say it one more time.
Hey, take that
your
back.
9 to 5 will feed your family.
Hey.
But what you do 5 to 9 fuels your fortune.
Well,
And what he was simply saying was that do what you got to do to take care of the people that look to you to take care of them, whether that's spouse, children, whatever. Don't violate those conversations and those expectations, but do something else so that you can also at some point live the life and lifestyle that you want to live. So if your desire is to be a digital nomad, for an example, or just travel from country to country, live in a place for a month, move. Now you can do this when you're single or you have a spouse that wants to do the same thing. But if your children kind of need structure. Now it doesn't mean they can't travel, but a month in one country and then a month in another country and a month in another country, they got to go to school unless you're going to teach them. But I guess you could teach them if you know some stuff.
Well, everything online nowadays. So.
It is. So you could. But you have to be able to. Don't violate those relationships, and while you're trying to get freedom or whatever it is your goal is. And everybody, the good thing about where we are is everybody doesn't have the same goals, right? So, and everybody's goals don't cost the same. So if I want freedom, and freedom for me is $60,000 a year, passively, then that really is the goal. I don't need to drive a Bugatti. Also, if you wake up in a brand new Bugatti, you probably stole it. But I don't need to drive a Bugatti. I don't need to drive a Lamborghini. I used to think I did when I was in my 20s. So I might have tried to go that route, but no, now I don't. The things I did when I became a man, I put away childish things.
look at you. Look at you. Won't it do it?
No, but the stuff that as I got older, I was just like,
Yeah.
I don't. My desires changed.
Sunaba.
My desires changed.
And that's the thing. If you knew what you knew now, then
Right.
everything
I would have had my pilot's license already.
Oh yeah, because you would.
I didn't even have a desire to be a pilot then. It wasn't until not right in 2006, 2007. I didn't really know anything about small planes at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, the small plane is, guess what? It's another extension of freedom. Because I can fly wherever the heck I want to fly.
Yeah.
I don't have to have.
You go rent a plane.
Can just like that Titanic you talking about visiting.
Yeah, I gotta go.
Ain't no large city near there, but I guess what I bet it is. I bet it's a small airport nearby. That if you had your own plane, you could land at.
I got people I can make an arrangement. That'd be nice.
You know a guy that knows a guy.
Yeah, no joke. That's real.
So
65,000. That's the number. Anyway,
what?
let's move on.
That's his
Everybody
number to
got
get
their
out.
own.
Oh, so it's funny he said that. It's because when I was a kid, that was my number. I said I want to make $1,000 a day.
That's good. I'm good with that.
Because at that age,
What's wrong with that? I don't see the problem.
At that age, I didn't see how I could spend more than that. As an adult, I know full well how to spend more than that.
Exactly, but a day though.
But at some point you gonna hit a wall, and it's like I don't really want nothing else though. For most people, they gonna hit a wall and like I don't really want nothing else.
Sorry, it's all. I'll tell you what. On
And
this
you be
note,
set.
on this note, it says, "How would you prepare for your future?"
Yeah.
All money would go in. I would definitely have. I would be a mogul on finding opportunities and making them work financially for my legacy. Like I'm at this point, I'm just catching up to all those books that we read or that I read in Iraq.
Yeah.
Everything, all the notes that I made in the journal is like it's coming to fruition now.
Apply what you already
Exactly.
done.
Well,
I'm applying it,
and the thing I tell people all the time is that no matter what, it's until they are patting you on the face with a shovel, it's never too late.
Facts.
It is never too. I mean, everybody loves
Big
telling
facts.
the story of. Everybody loves telling the story of Colonel Sanders and how late Colonel Sanders got started, but they don't talk about how late some of these actors and actresses got started. They didn't get their first acting gig till they were 40 or 50, and then you still got 30 years, prayerfully of acting left. So it's never over. I said, and I don't even know where it came from, but I said the story isn't over until you finish writing it.
That's what's up.
And that's always true. Like until you decide that the story is over, the story isn't over until you finish writing it. And you can rewrite, you can rip up that page that you were just writing and create a whole new story anytime you want.
Health wise, what would y'all do different?
I would just change my diet. I wouldn't be such a fat kid.
I would have started deadlifting earlier.
I wouldn't have been eating
I don't
those
know.
soft batch cookies so
I
much.
don't know, man. 'Cause if I did what I'm doing now back then, bro, I would be
Brolic.
a Super Saiyan.
Yellow hair and all.
Everything.
But health wise, I mean, because I probably would have just started lifting weights or kept lifting weights. Like after we got back, I would have kept lifting weights.
Yeah, I would have stayed with.
Well,
Well,
I
yeah,
would've
'cause I was in
stayed
good
with-
shape. I would have
I would have
stayed, in
stayed
shape.
with it for sure.
I would have
Yeah,
stayed in
I
shape.
think that if anything, I would just change my eating habits. But as far as the work ethic in the gym and being consistent, I mean, I'm more consistent now than I was before. Because back then, if I missed the gym, it wasn't a problem because I had a decent looking shape. You know what I mean? But now it's like, if I miss the gym now, it's a wrap. All that work down the drain in one day. My metabolism isn't the same. So
I took a week off.
Oh, you did?
I did too much.
That's good for you.
Well, because
Well, and you do have to
I
rest.
did too much.
You do have to rest. Rest is important.
Whoa.
Yeah, I know.
What is Cal?
right.
What is doing too much for Calvin Hill
So
in the gym?
Friday, no. It was a combination. All
Okay.
right, so my Friday workout, then I went and what happened Saturday? Saturday I went running for like 3 or 4 miles, and then Sunday I turned around and played 4 full-court basketball games, 2 21 games, and a 4-on-4.
He thought he was in his 20s.
Man, what are you doing?
He thought he was in his
I was
20s.
getting it though. I was.
Oh,
in
you
there when
will.
I was.
You
I
will.
was winning.
You
Hey,
will.
getting it there
See,
Monday morning.
But see, so let me ask this question: Did you soak afterwards?
Nope. Did you?
Because professional athletes soak after the game.
Do it.
You out here as an amateur athlete, like I'm good.
I don't need the soap.
Exactly. So there's your
That's
problem.
exactly what I
Yeah,
learned.
that self care after the exertion never
Hey,
happened.
look, none of it, because I got up Monday morning.
Hey, be like LeBron James, man. Take care of your body.
Back and everything messed up. But I felt so, oh my God, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I was in there.
You was in the zone.
Boy, it felt so good. I haven't felt like that in years.
I tell you what, I give you about 3 or 4 jump shots and then I'm good.
No.
I do that when I'm leaving out of the
I felt
facility.
like I could dunk. I felt like I could dunk on somebody.
What? Taking it back? Huh?
Felt like couldn't.
It felt like couldn't. This is the real. I was up there like this.
Oh, is that what that looks like? That's a nice color.
All right.
Hey,
The air up there.
Y'all don't see me on the court. I'm sorry. I didn't shout out the Indian River Heat. Hey, congratulations, guys! Great season this year. I got a surprise for everybody coming up at the party. We had a good season. Good season.
What was the record?
It was a 4-2. But it was good. It was still good.
Trash.
Hey, look, you don't want to tell the kids.
I'm
Undefeated or
But no,
nothing.
no.
joking, man. I'm
Look,
joking.
I knew the
was
season was
good.
that short. I thought it was more than 6 games.
No, the first
COVID?
game, and then they had we had makeup games and stuff like that. So, but we only lost to an AAU team, like 2 AAU teams that was blowing everybody out anyway. But my boys did good, man. I'm proud of them. It make a coach feel good.
That's what's
Feel
up, man.
good.
Shout out to you and your
So-
team. Shout out to you and that coaching, man. It takes a lot of patience.
Woo!
Let's move on.
We're gonna do
That
an
was
episode.
the last thing. Unless you got something else.
No, we're gonna do an episode on kids one day because these kids out here
The nightmare of parenting.
don't. Man, yeah, might as well.
All put
Might as
tied
well,
all in
but
together.
These kids, boy, they don't listen. And the crazy part, I'm off subject, but the crazy part is, you can tell them something and show them the results right there, and they will not keep doing what gets them the good results. They won't do it. I wonder why. All right, but that's it. I ain't
Maybe
got
you
nothing-
should train
hey,
with treats.
I blame the parents.
Man, I blame somebody. Train with treats. Might want to.
TWT, baby. Train with treats.
All right, y'all got anything?
Closing remarks. I'm gonna get this.
I got
to-
nothing.
You got nothing, Calvin?
No, man. The big thing was life has a way of giving you opportunities to recreate those lost moments. And I feel like right now, a lot of us, especially economically, with the housing market and everything else going on in the world right now, we are sitting in a prime opportunity to capitalize on this moment. So ride the wave.
In regards of reflecting back to 2007, I think it's good to reflect. It's good to look at the situation and compare that to now. So even though you may not have been in the position you were now in the past, I done lost train of thought, man. Man, I'm out of here, man. I'm out of here, man.
Hey, we'll see y'all next week, man.
Yeah.